Lagerfeld revealed his designs to the world in elaborate fashion shows like this. The Grand Palais in Paris transformed into a beach, a rocket launch pad, or an elaborate garden of one description or another. Suitable settings for his designs before they hit Chanel stores, and well before they were copied by designers everywhere. You'll recognize these. The tweed dress, which of course made him famous. Lagerfeld kept reinventing this Chanel classic. And then the two-tone shoes. There was another Lagerfeld reimagined in different colors, copied endlessly. And of course, the quilted handbag, an item of desire around the world. Appropriately, John Colapinto is with me. Good to see you, sir.
Hi.
You spent 2 months with Karl Lagerfeld writing a profile for the New Yorker. You join me now. We have the padded bag here.
Yes, nice.
When you look at his contribution, so massive as it is, how do you manage to distill it to what its essence?
You know, he was a man easily bored, the way a lot of fashion designers are, but he was a boredom detector of acute power. And he was constantly ready, and he knew when the change had to come. So when he was very young and was initially in couture, he thought, this is dull and boring, and he went into ready-to-wear stuff. And then later, when he took on the Chanel brand in 1983...
Which others didn't want him to do.
Correct.
His friends said, do not do this.
Absolutely. They said, this is boring, this is dull, these little sort of suits. And Karl just went ape. I mean, he started to put wrappers, chains on them. He made the C logo huge. He did all these things that were tasteless, seemingly, but they were totally hip for young people. And yet the guy was pretty old. So he just had this infallible sense of the now, and he just simply refused to age in his mind and imagination.
Did he save Chanel?
Yeah, I guess I would have to say he did, because we can really see that if the wrong person takes over one of these legacy brands, they can drive them straight into the toilet, so to speak.
And it was risky what he proposed, as you said, with Chanel. But if you look at the way he worked with Fendi, and then you look at all the other houses that I mean, we can see that today by Bernard Arnault from LVMH's tribute to him. He worked with many and was loved by all.
Yes, absolutely, and had sort of a different idiom, a different voice for each place that he worked. It was extraordinary. He took on the DNA of Chanel, but then twisted it and changed it, did Fendi, which was a very different kind of look, had his own label, a different thing again. So yeah, he just was a genius of the fashion vocabulary somehow.
And when we look at things like these bags, the double C, which he made so large, some would say rather vulgar, yeah. But his inspiration for all of these, they are originals, by the way, in case anybody thinks we've just popped down to Canal Street. They are originals. How important were the accessories like the bags?
Oh, I mean, tremendously important. I mean, those in a way support the whole label. Also, as do cosmetics and perfumes and so on. So it's not only that spectacular dress you see coming down the runway, and then of course bags were so huge in that period when Karl took over. And I think he partly made them huge. That idea of the clutch or the bag that the woman was holding in the 80s and 90s, the it bag. So tremendously important.
He loved knowledge.
Oh yeah.
He loved knowledge, but he wasn't an arrogant snob.
Indeed, not at all.
In the sense of he kept it to himself, but could destroy you with a good fact.
Oh yeah, no, his learning was deep and really quite extraordinary. I mean, again, what he would do when he would read books, which was one of my favorite details about him, because it spoke to how he never looks back. So he would tear out the page that he finished and throw it on the floor. So he literally could not look back through the book. And it's a perfect metaphor for how Karl just was always moving forward. And that's why he was so good at fashion and anticipating when people were gonna be as bored as him.
We are a business show. So even on the moment of sadness, we put it in the terms of, has he built a stable that will survive and thrive?
What a great question. What a great question. I mean, you know, I don't know that you can. I think you take the single, it's a little like asking, Did Paul McCartney build a stable that was going to let the Beatles survive after he's gone, let's say? The answer is no, you kind of need Paul and you need John and you need Paul, you know, and you need George and Ringo. When the creative force like Carl dies, I'm not really sure what they do. They just have to find another genius real fast, I suspect.
Any out there?
Boy, I mean, I don't really know. No name pops to mind that equals Carl.
Right. Well, absolutely. I find it, one thing, I only ever met him once, but the one thing I do remember, whenever you see pictures, always immaculately dressed.
Yes.
You know, there's no popping out for a pint of milk on a Sunday in your sweatpants.
He would just be appalled that I'm wearing a sweater right now instead
But he'd
of a
approve
proper
of my
jacket.
pinstripes.
Well, oh, would he ever? No, absolutely. But I got this call last minute. Otherwise, I would have been up to the Karl mark. I would have at least worn a Karl jacket. No, he was all about, you know, appropriate presentation.
We're very glad you came in, sir.
What a pleasure.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.